Welcome, guys, to this episode of the Trainer Feed. We're going to have a special guest on, Miss Lexa Henwood. But before we have her on, let's catch up with the guys. How you guys doing?
Good. Another Friday. Another week.
Gracias, Dios.
That's good. Nothing crazy going on.
Cool.
Angel, how you feeling?
I asked you first, man.
All right. Same. Another Friday. I went to the dentist for the first time in like years yesterday, so that was something, and came out alive. But just ton of stuff doing this week, like running some errands. You know how it is, like, and I'm anticipating what might start closing down in the city with the number spiking up. So kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of mentally preparing for another lockdown, unfortunately, but so.
Yeah, get your cans of beans now while you're
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
Sweet corn beans.
You
Yeah.
get toilet paper.
Scary to think that New York is seeing those numbers spike. I mean, it's not compared to like, I think I saw California where it had gone up like in the last 7 days, 30,000 new cases. New York was 5,000, but 4,000 of those were in New York City. So like Vermont had like 70 in the last 7 days or something. So like,
Wow.
yeah. So like, it's quite interesting to see, and like no shocker, like, you know, certain states we already know, like sort of greater spikes. So, yeah, kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Because now if we have another round, it will be darker, right? And be colder. So she's in the waiting room. Angel, how are you feeling?
I'm doing well. Not having, today is my girlfriend's dad's birthday. So he turned
Nice.
65.
Nice.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm going to see him tomorrow after we do the thing. I'm going to head up there to the Bronx.
So you remember, she was saying the other day how she doesn't remember their ages, right? And it was like, it's either 55 or 65, right?
Yeah, right. That was the notorious day. That'll be a day to remember. We'll never forget that day.
Almost didn't come back with my dog. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Did you tell Alex yet?
No, right after she's like, why won't you tell me? Why? She doesn't listen to this anyways. It's fine. But like, she was like, why won't you tell me? And I was like, just that Alfie is being annoying. And she was just like what? And I was like,
you should say it on the podcast. That way she'll hear it like 5 years from now.
she'll never listen to this. It's like that time when she said, would you have me on? I was like, well, would you want? And she's like, fuck no, I don't want to come on. I was like, what? That's different to you not wanting to come on then. So, it keeps, she's saying it keeps bringing her to the calendar.
I could send her the invite again. I sent her the invite
Just now, right?
just with you guys. Wait, hang on. Let me pause this for a second. Can I pause it? Yes. All right. So our guest is Lexa Henwood. So we will introduce her. Jacques, you know her a little bit better than I, so you should do the introduction.
Sure. Yeah, so Lexa is a trainer at Bryant Park Equinox. She's someone who I've been able to do workshops with, and she's got a very good energy. She's super cool. She also lives in the same neighborhood, so I'll see her around. And I think she's someone like, again, she's someone that we've has a very positive energy that everyone can kind of feed off. So you guys will hopefully see that. And yeah, excited to bring her on. She's super cool. So yeah.
Awesome.
Hey Alexa, what's up? How are you?
There we go.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hi,
Hey,
how
how's
are
it
you?
going?
Good. So this is Angel and David, my coworkers and also my co-host, and then this is Lexa, someone that I've had the pleasure of doing workshops with. Who's again, I was singing your praises, Lexa, so they already have a good idea about
Thank you. You're too sweet. Same to you. I can't say enough good things.
you. We'll write a list. No, I'm joking.
I could more than happy.
Oh, all right then. Thank you. Appreciate it. But thank you again for coming on. I know it was kind of short notice, and we appreciate you have so much going on. So that it was very appreciative that you're being flexible with us. So we want to pick your brain, and I've known you a little bit through, like, I know we've done like animal flow workshops. What other workshops have we done? I feel there's been a couple other ones.
I feel like we did do a couple. I'm not sure. I also know that we did a couple things with Equinox.
That's right, the
With
shoots. Yeah.
the shoots. So we did some of that together. I know. I know. I don't know. I can't remember if there's a couple other certifications that we've taken, but I'm off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Yeah, something along those lines. But I've never actually asked you, and for our listeners, like, what is it that got you into personal training? What does your journey towards it look like?
So my background, it's a little untraditional, I guess you could say. I mean, everyone has their own journey. Starting way back, I played volleyball for 8 years. So that was kind of my first step into really understanding, like, working out, dedication, really putting in time for just any kind of goal in mind. I then actually, I moved to New York City to pursue modeling, and was very unhealthy. I wasn't taking care of my body. I was over exercising, doing too much of one thing, really started to just wear on my body. I was causing a lot of like injuries, a lot of just really bad just habits overall. And I really started to realize like my eating was really bad. I was just overall was super unhealthy and was just mentally in a really bad place as well. And I actually came to Equinox Bryant Park, where I actually work now, and was like, I just want to change my life. Like, I need something, like, I need someone that's going to help me just get me on track, help me love my body again, help me like move forward being healthy, because I knew that this industry was wrecking me mentally, emotionally, physically. And being a prior athlete, I missed feeling strong. I missed being able to, especially being in the city alone as a girl, I wanted to be able to feel comfortable walking by myself and being like, okay, like, I'm strong enough that like, if I need to, I can defend myself. There's just a lot of things that like I just like lacked, not having that like that confidence, and being able to get back into it, be in the gym, and have my trainer Mason at the time really instill that strength back in me. I got so interested in just everything behind it. My family is all in medicine, so I knew a lot about the body, but didn't really understand everything until I started to see it for myself. And in a matter of a year of training with him, I went and got my certification. I went and got like, I threw myself all in, because he helped me love my body again. He helped me change my life and show what even just a year can do, let alone like so much more. And there's like, everyone has their own story and has their own reason for why they get to work out and why they found their way to just training in general. And for me, that still drives me, is I want to help not only myself still love my body and still feel strong, but other people as well. So that's kind of how I got to personal training and what drives me still.
That's phenomenal. I think, would you go as far as saying that you can connect more to female clients for that reason as well, for having being like a female in the city alone, and that fear of being by yourself at night, wanting to protect yourself? But then also something that's can be quite sensitive, but quite important subject is like to love yourself, right? To love your body. Is that something that has been a key tool when you're connecting with clients, for example?
Yeah, definitely. I will say it's been a great thing, especially for a lot of women. Like mostly the time is women come in, they're like, I just want to feel happy in my skin. I think right now, especially like media is doing better, but media was for the longest time always just, it was always just like giving you this idea of like what the perfect woman should look like. And for me, I broke away from that. I was in that industry, and it like, they would tear you apart in like to your face. And for you to just like, I just want people to like come in and be like, listen, like, I'm going to help you feel your best, and we're going to do to help. And like, that is a great tool. It helps me relate to people, because everyone wants to feel their best. They want to look in the mirror and love the results they see. So that's been a great tool, especially for women. They want to feel strong. They want to like see those results, and they want to feel confident. I can say I'm proof, because I started out like who I am now compared to who I was when I first started is two completely different people, mentally, physically. But it's also a great way. I've been able to connect with some men as well, because I feel like sometimes some of my male clients don't necessarily always come out right and say it, but they, everyone wants to feel good in the mirror. They want to feel like a badass, and they want to kick ass in a workout. So I still have that edge of being able to like bring that to them as well. So it's helped me kind of just all over, but just give that sensitive side. I feel like with training people, it's a very vulnerable place, and it's a very vulnerable time for you to like connect with your trainer, just to like, really, you're trying to improve yourself. So I think that that's a great way to just connect overall.
No, 100%. I think I again had total faith you were connecting with the males as well. I just felt that being a female, you had.
Of course.
Yeah, I figured. I knew that.
No, of course.
Okay, good. I didn't want to imply that, but I think that kind of leads me on to it goes without saying as well that I think once a person knows what they want to, what they want to achieve, but it's so easy to distort ourselves in seeing, like you said, the media, right? Like what 6 days in the gym and clean eating can look like, right? But that's not the same for everyone. And do you not think that's part of our role as a trainer to identify, like, well, it can look different for certain people, but like just being comfortable with knowing what our process allows us to look like or feel like?
I completely agree. And I think that's a huge thing. Like as trainers, we are constantly faced with people come in and they want this quick fix. And for some people, yes, like that that can be a great start, but you're not like results take time. Results take consistency, dedication, wanting to put that work in for yourself for it to stick and be long term. I think that's a huge like misconception that a lot of people come in with just because obviously media is putting this across like, oh, try this program, like 6 days, like, but even for any like breaking a bad habit, that's taking like upwards of 21 days. Like, so you're not going to see, I personally just think that for you to really see those results and to really put in that time for yourself, it's definitely, it's hard for us to portray that, and to really like explain to them, and even just sitting down with them and getting to know about their goals, being like, explaining to them your body, like with what you want to do, like you need to put in the time, you need to put in the work, and really just like helping. I mean, in our place, we get to build like 6-week programs and like expand on that, showing them that and like how much you have to put into it. That's a better way for them to understand, like, okay, it's not just these like 6 days, like it's a long-term thing. It's more of a lifestyle. It's not just this like fad, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's definitely, we can all probably agree that there's been the scenarios where the first or some clientele we work with are, I have 6 sessions, I'm going to make the 6 sessions count, and my 6-pack grows. Like you said, there are some that or at least wants to get to that level, that mindset where whatever I have in my inventory, as long as I'm seeing you on a continual process basis, and like you said, the journey, right? As opposed to being like, oh, I have 6 weeks to do this, and if I don't do it by then, like I don't know if I'll be training any further. It's like, it's a continual, like, let the body learn to grow. And like, I know you frequently on social media will post something from like a year ago and how far you've come from. And I think that's also important for us as trainers to, like you said, even our clients who are vulnerable, that trainers also are vulnerable, right? And show that we have been in a scenario where we had to just be more open to learning, and we should still be open to learning. And it's the same with our clients. And I think that that's something you really portray that. So I really like seeing that. I did want to, before the guys jump in, I know you kind of at home, like in Pennsylvania with your family for a little bit, right? Like, what do you feel you have learned coming out of lockdown? I mean, before we assume we go back into another lockdown, right? But like, what would you take away from having been locked down?
Being in lockdown, I feel like as a trainer, and this is something that really a lot of people can relate to, we tend to sometimes push ourselves too much. We tend to think we're like kind of indestructible. I know, like for myself, I had a lot of injuries from like sports, bad movement patterns that I didn't realize at the time, that like just wear and tear on your body over the years. I really realized that like you need to rest, especially in our industry. It's all about hustling. It's all about constantly working. Like we're helping clients. We're not necessarily always focusing on ourselves. And for me, it made me realize I wasn't taking care of myself, something that I preach so much to all of my clients. That like, like for results, for things to really stick, for like lifestyle, like you need to take care of yourself, your sleep, your stress, your eating, like your everything. You really need to prioritize that. And I wasn't necessarily as much as I was able to over the lockdown. It made me realize a lot of things, not only from my training like standpoint of taking care of my body, my mental, like I'm huge on mental health. I can honestly say for myself, I turned inward and worked a lot on myself. And just being in a good environment, you don't realize how much the environment can like not only affect life, but training. Being home with my family, being in such like a happy environment, and being with people I love, it helped me like grow outside of just training. It helped my training as well. I was able to like, it gave me time to like really just put aside, like I was doing learning on my own. I was still investing in like everything, like my knowledge, but also being able to translate that into just like daily life as well. And just like all of these things that you don't really realize can play play such an important role do. And I think that moving forward, when I came back, it was, like you can't take time for granted. Like that time that we got during lockdown was like, you can like everyone was dealing with their own thing, you know, we're all in this position and you got to just try to make the best of it. And just try to take care of yourself, you know, like that was my main thing. Is like, I realized I was trying to work out every day when I first started, and I was hurting myself more than it was doing good. And that's a huge thing. Clients come in, like, you can work out every day, but you need to do it smart. Yeah. And that was a huge learning tool for me as well. So being in a bubble, that's basically it.
That's cool though. I think, and something that, at least on the podcast, we've touched a little bit in the past, but not as much, is mental health. I think that was something that we were all mostly very vulnerable about, because you go from like every single day, everything being normal in the city, to just like things shutting down, to you be stuck in your apartment, to not getting that much air, and to like, it was maybe cool at first, the first week, because you could binge this stuff on Netflix you had never seen before, or you haven't had the chance to see. And then after like a week or two, you'll be like, okay, this is fucking old. Like, how do we? Yeah. So that's, I actually really like the fact you've touched on mental health, because I think that's something that it has been a serious issue with how life has had to change. So it can't go unnoted for sure.
Definitely. I completely agree. And I think that mental health is something that it's become more of a thing in like today's, like, not only like social media and like people are talking about it a lot more. I know that's a huge thing in my life is mental health, and I preach about it all the time. But like you said, like in the gym was a place for people that helped with mental health. So I know that was a huge struggle, not only for us as trainers, but for just like anyone else that likes to go to the gym and frequents the gym. That was a really hard transition. So I think that like everyone was faced with it.
It's that I can't think of the word. I don't want to say like your sanctuary, right? Because you go there, at least for like non-employees, you go there and it's your space to, you know, you try and leave your stress or those emails, those calls out the door. You come in the club or whatever gym space you go to, and then you go there and you zone out. And I think that's something that I'm sure like a lot of our clients that we probably heard firsthand, like what they've said, right? Like, oh, like my stress reliever gym isn't accessible to me right now, and but there's some things to be said about adapting, but yeah, it definitely can't go unnoticed for sure.
Definitely.
I think for a lot of people too, adapting to going back to work and going back to just, you know, the gyms and stuff. Some people, at least in my experience with some clients that are coming back, it's kind of like, David, I don't know how to get up early again. And for me too, because I was sleeping until like 9, 10 o'clock, and I have clients at like 7 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then maybe once or twice I get a text like, hey, I can't do 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, all right, fuck. All right, dude, I was already up, but fine. But I like that, you know, we touched on mental health, because it brings me to my question about training, especially training women. Mental health, you know, encompasses so many things, you know, and the biggest thing would be like self-esteem or just confidence in general. How, what are some things you say to anybody in the first assessment that comes to mind where they don't want to do certain things because of, you know, the stigma that comes along with it, you know, i.e. lifting weights or, you know, just lifting heavy, especially for women, regardless of age?
Yeah. I will say that is a huge thing that I think across the board, a lot of women come in, they're like, I don't want to be bulky. And that's, I feel like when everyone when you look at moving weights, people instantly think like you're just going to get bulky. And when it comes to women, obviously that's where that like comes across. I will say I've sat down with a lot of women, and it depends on the person. I've approached it many different ways. Depending on their personality, I kind of try to feel them out. If they are more of like a blunt, just upfront, or if they're more just like feeling things out. The blunt way that I've said it to some people, like if that's just how they are, they're very cut and dry. Where I'm in the corporate area, so I feel like with some of them, they're very just straight up to the point. That's just, they want to hear it flat out. I'll look at them and I'll basically be like, can I ask you a serious question? And they're like, of course. And I'm like, if you were to look at me, would you say I'm bulky? And they're like, well, no. And I just tell them, like, I lift weights. I deadlift, like I deadlift like a little, like I'm close to my body weight. I move weight daily, like with my program, and I'm not bulky. It's just all about, it's not only just your body type and just how you're doing it, your rep schemes, which we obviously take care of as trainers, and we make sure that that's like tailored to their body, but it's also eating and everything else along those lines. Like your training styles. I mean, for a lot of girls as well, some of them, like you said, like some of them, when it comes to confidence wise, I always like to ask them also like what their go-to usually is outside of training. Like if they were to like yoga or like Pilates, I try to then not mimic like that training style, but I've taken the animal flow certification. That's a great way to incorporate very just functional movements that's still loading the body, but keeping it interesting for them and making them realize like, okay, we can still do this. You can still build muscle without necessarily feeling like you're going to fit that stigma of like, I'm going to be so bulky, I'm going to put on all this muscle, because that also takes time. Like your body doesn't just put on like 50 pounds of muscle in like 2 days. Like some of us wish that we could. And like, even for myself, like it's taken me like 2+ years to be able to put on the muscle that I now have. And that's with constant, like every 6 weeks, changing a program, constantly adapting, constantly dealing with something else, some sort of stressor outside that like day to day. So this is like, I feel like when I sit down with them and I basically tell them straight out, I'm like, listen, like we are going to tailor this to your body, but I'm going to make sure like we're putting your body under a stress that's going to get you to your goal and make you feel good in the mirror, whether that is if you want to put on a lot of muscle, if you want to put on, or if you don't, or if you want to stay a little bit leaner. Obviously there's different ways to target that. But it just, honestly, it depends on the person. I like to keep it, I like to keep it very organic. I never really say the same things twice to anyone, but yeah, I don't really know if that answers the question, but like, it's such a hard thing because I feel like, because it is such a thing in the industry where people are like, I don't want to be bulky. And that takes so much to actually be bulky. And
You have to eat so much, right? Like people spoke about it. Like you have to eat, you just have to be eating like chicken, rice, and broccoli like 7 times a day, and
exactly
whatever it is. Yeah.
I mean, also, I think that depending on the demographic, at least a lot of my female clients, they are older, and back in their day, they weren't really encouraged to lift weights, go deadlift, squat, and bench, kettlebell swing, snatch. I mean, they were never encouraged to do that sort of stuff. So at least for me, it always comes down to just educating them as to the why. Like, why am I making you do this stuff? And I get it, at least for me, they have their goals, but there are a lot of ways to reach that goal. And sometimes, nudging the whole like, hey, how about we deadlift today? They're like, oh, wait, but how heavy? I said, well, it's a little more than what you did last week, like just a little bit. Yeah. And there's a time where my client didn't want me to tell her how much was on the bar. She's just like, David, just go put however much you want to fucking put on it. And this her exactly like, put it right now, and I'll lift it. I'm like, all right, cool, done, perfect. But when it comes to the stigma of women and lifting, it is being the attention to it is being brought a lot, I think, nowadays. But do you find the change in how the fitness industry has taken in terms of Muscle and Fitness magazine about do this diet, 6 weeks you'll lose 20 pounds, whatever, or into what people are doing now in terms of, okay, strength work for women is a big deal in a way, like they, a lot of people need it. What do you find are the benefits of the shift that the fitness industry has taken?
The shift, I think that honestly, the benefits of the shift is just it's a healthier way of just like looking like for a lot of women, especially just when that kind of just ties to like that, like you said, like looking at the magazine, like this quick fix, like this way to like get this look, like it helps mentally, and just like bringing strength, like strength training is such a great thing for your body. I mean, we know the benefits. It's like, and it's just, there's so many, just in general, it just makes, I feel like when you used to look at strength training for women, like even for myself, I know when I started lifting, like it was still like this thing of like, oh my gosh, like women don't really strength train. It was always the guys, and like they always moved all this crazy weight. And like, it just, I feel like for a while it was very looked at as like muscle and like weight is such like a masculine thing. And it's not, because it still can be feminine. Muscle is feminine. Like your body, it can go both ways. It's not something that has to be just like so, like, I guess, gender specific. And especially when it came to like doing just straight cardio, just like that was a huge thing for women, like you said, with some of your older clients, they weren't necessarily used to deadlifting or doing the 7 movement patterns and putting themselves into these exercises. And I think that it's great because it's not only like you can train it many different ways, of course, just modality, stuff like that. But I think it's like, it just helps people overall just be overall healthier. for me, especially, like I always stress on like, listen, like this carries over into life. Everything that we're doing, we're putting you through for a reason. Like anytime you go to the grocery store and like you pick up, like you're picking up 2 bags of groceries, that's a farmer's carry. Stuff like that. Like things like I like to really transition it over and like get their mental into a different place, because it's like, this is like, for like, especially like I know for myself, feeling independent, being able to do things for yourself, that like the strength training helps that. I feel like that's like a great way to like view that for women, especially. It's like, you can do all of this on your own, and you can lose weight, and like it's not just cardio, because as we know, cardio isn't going to just only be the only thing that's going to help you lose weight. So like it's been a really great shift mentally. It's a great way to just like reach across like all platforms, and it's been a really, like, especially for me, like when I've gotten people in for like any kind of consultations and just sat down with them, it's really just getting them to understand, like you said, like educating them on the why do we do this, why do we use certain things, like why we're going to build this program for your body, and we're going to do so many different things that like we made like you wouldn't have years ago, and not just get on cardio for 45 minutes and aimlessly like cycle or run. Like I know I go absolutely fucking insane if I were to just like run for 45 minutes straight. I would lose my mind.
I think it's
so
boring.
Like in place or on the treadmill?
It's a little boring. What?
You said
No, go ahead.
45 minutes. Are you running on place or you're on the treadmill? I'm assuming you're on a treadmill.
No,
yeah, I hate running. That's just me. I don't run well.
So Angel's our runner here.
Yeah, but I don't even run like that.
Tell us how far you ran on what you did for your 30th birthday.
I just did 30 miles, which is like 50 kilometers or something.
He just did 30 miles.
I trained for it. And then in January, like I was in the lottery for the New York Roadrunners. So for the New York City Marathon, and I actually got it. And it was like my first time.
That's
I just
amazing.
threw my name in the ring, and then they were just like, or threw my name in the hat, and they were just like, all right. So I said, you know what? My birthday's in May. I'll train for that. And then in November, I'll be ready to do the marathon. But obviously everything changed. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that
you're crazy.
It doesn't mean, I think you have to go to a different place. And I think that it's important to kind of like diversify like your training. Because then you can also respect different athletes in different capacities, right? So I was typically more like bodybuilding to calisthenics, then also some powerlifting, and it's a different place, a different headspace that you need to get into for every one of those. And then when I went into the running, it was like I don't know, I don't even know how to describe it, like a fish out of water, but you stick with it, you listen to the people who do it well, and you hear how they kind of have to manage their brain while they're running, and then you're just like, okay, this actually makes sense. You try it, and then it works.
That's awesome. No, I love that. But you actually touched on something about just like, it was like you trained for it, and you conquered it. I think it's a great way to like just look at just strength training in general. Like that's like anything you take on, it's a new challenge. It's something new, like a new goal. Like it's like taking on any new goal in life. Like this is another way to, like, even for women, like this is a challenge. Like I love a challenge. I will say, like, I mean, maybe that's just the competitor in me, but like giving yourself this challenge and like this new way of like training, like you said, like listening to the people that know best. That's why people come to trainers. I think that's like the most important thing, is like constantly learning. And I love that you said that with running, because I did run for a certain period of time, but I got injured from it. So that's hence why I kind of have a dislike toward it. But I love that, like the way you approach it, and that you were like, just listen to the people that know, like they're going to help you like achieve. And I think that's amazing. And I hope that when the marathon does come back, that you're able to compete.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Yeah, that's when, in November, right? Or supposedly.
They're pushing it back. Yeah, they're pushing it back to next year, but they don't know. So you had like the option, those who got in the lottery, you had the option to either like give up the spot, get reimbursed, or donate to charity, which I couldn't do, I don't think, because I just won the lottery. So it's like it would be out of their pocket. Doesn't really make sense. But yeah, or like they do it in the next 4 years or something like that.
Okay, no, because one of my clients recently did I think a half marathon, but what they did was they sent her this whole thing, this like this thing that she wears. It's basically a GPS, and they're just tracking how far she's running, and She was like, I could run wherever
Every
the fuck
day
I want to.
or
No. This for this one day. Like this for the because this is an event. This is
Generally,
like
they have it on the bib.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's on the bib. There's like a GPS tracker on the bib, and that helps them know where you're at, and then it helps you realize like after you did it, like what your pace was at a certain mileage and a certain point.
cool.
I guess.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah. But it's like
well,
O-lifting too for David. David O-lifts. So, and that's pretty impressive as well.
I mean,
That's impressive.
it's been, you know, a funny story with that. They were having, because a lot of the meets were being canceled because of COVID. And there was a funny story where this one guy, they were having this meet. It was virtual. So I think they were doing it on Zoom. And one guy he was doing a clean and jerk. I think it was like 150 kilos or something like that.
Holy
And it was
shit.
his turn, and his fucking Wi-Fi went off. And
Oh no.
so what I read is he did the lift. He did it, right? He should have got 3 white lights, but then the judge was like, hey, we ain't see it. So I got 3 red lights. I would have been so
Holy
pissed. I
Oh
would've
my
been so
god, he
pissed.
got 3 red lights from the judges and the cable box. Oh, boom,
It's
boom,
so bad.
Both give you.
That's the thing. It just
Holy
fucks you up.
Damn,
like
that
now you
sucks.
need good internet just to like compete.
He's
crazy.
just gonna
That's
next time.
awful.
He's just gonna have to go to like a Starbucks, set his plates up, and just know his Wi-Fi will be fine there.
But I
Like,
don't know. I don't
that's-
know. I mean, there are a lot of AG recently had a bodybuilding comp, didn't he? And there are people there, I think.
Yeah,
What
but
was
that?
that?
It varies on the state. So I think he went to
that makes
Florida.
sense. Yeah.
Florida,
Uh,
there you go.
Florida, they're like fill up the stadium. It's fine.
Florida, it's like,
Florida's like,
hey,
fuck
no
it.
COVID, let's go. Fuck
They're
it.
like, it's not real.
But Jacques
Right
has
to
something.
breathe.
You had something. You posted something today, right? Like 10,000, and they're doing like a workout online. I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of those competitions
Oh,
being
yeah.
posted.
Yeah. So I posted it. So they reached out to us and wanted us to promote it. So basically, they're having you being able to. It's the way they're judging it is similar to like CrossFit, where like if there's a workout, you've got like a given time to complete it, and they're going to give you videos of how they want exercises performed. So let's say like for example, pull-ups. Like you can see people doing like pull-ups like a million different ways, and the way they want you to do the pull-ups, or like the squats and the burpees, whatever. I'm sure there'll be burpees in there. And then it basically you do like a video submission. So you film your whole thing, submit it. Yeah, and I guess whether you again, if I've done like 3 rounds or the max like an athlete did was like 10 rounds, whatever, you just submit it, and that's pretty much how it is. I think it's kind
This
of
is
cool.
open to anyone.
It's
Is
open
that
to
it?
anyone, but I don't know. I think it's predominantly going to be accessible to everyone in the sense it's mostly body weight. But I guess you just need to have like the space, or I think it's cool though. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm really excited to see.
I heard
But yeah.
something about that with a couple of athletes who were doing either obstacle course racing, because I also like to do obstacle course racing. That's kind of my
That's
jam.
awesome.
And they have adapted in
Two
that
Spartan
same
races,
capacity.
Never again.
Listen, man, you should go out there.
Dude, man.
You should go out there.
I remember
But
the first one was in college. I thought it was a sprint. That's what, 3 miles, 5 miles?
right.
And when I get there with my buddies, we all drove up and I see the finish line and it says mile 9. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wait.
Listen, it is so much fun.
It was
Oh
purely
my
the
God.
super. No, it was like the Spartan
So much
Beast or
fun.
something, or Super Spartan.
Oh my god.
That
Because you're all doing it
is-
together. It's fun. It's
That is pretty
They
savage.
fucking
though.
left me. I was in the back. It took me so long.
all right. So that
I mean,
means
ultimately at the end, I told them like, guys, just go, because they were just like, they were fucking going.
you got to change it. Change it to Tough Mudder. They're not timed. They're not time based unless you do the time based one,
Yeah.
and then it's just like a team. You know, a group of like anywhere between like 2 and like I saw team Goya was like 50 deep.
Go, yeah.
Team Goya at Tough Mudder, they were 50
What?
deep.
Yeah, man.
50 people.
Yeah, and
Holy shit.
they were cool, and everybody
Filled
helps
with
each
the
other.
Doble.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But I agree though. Like if I'm like you, David, like if I go somewhere and think it's 3 miles and I see mile 9, like
Yeah, I
that's
would-
a
I would
men-
have shit myself.
yeah, that's a
Fuck is
mental
going on?
preparation.
I mean, that was my own fault for not, reading.
Still
But-
though, it's
But
still
I
hard
did it.
to.
It took me a long time. Oh my god.
That's all right.
9
But
miles, though.
you really then you start to feel like, holy crap, I'm hungry. Now I know what hunger feels like. Now I know what actual soreness feels like, and like joint pain feels like. And now
as
I
soon
know.
as I was done, I said, "Give me beer." They give you like 1 or 2 beer cards, and you go and get like a couple of pints. But for the first week, I couldn't roll out. I couldn't bend over to
telling you.
start foam rolling. It was bad.
It hits
Bad.
different. That
That's a
shit hit
lot.
different.
So bad.
That shit
Yeah.
does hit different.
So, well, I have one last question for you before
Yeah.
I let Angel go. We were on the topic of strength training for women and myths surrounding that. What are some, just a couple of benefits, 3 to 5 that you find are helpful for women to know that come from strength training? Especially if they're older.
Especially if you're older, I feel like a lot of I don't necessarily have I mean, when it comes to my demographic of I can't speak today. My demographic of clientele, I have a couple older women clients, and what I've told them is, as you get older, your body just starts to get frail if you don't. If it's because if you don't put it under stress. As you get older, we know that our body starts to get more frail. Your bones, your muscles start to atrophy a little bit. I know I've watched my grandparents. They're getting a lot more fragile. They don't move as well. For some of my my one client, she's a little bit in her a little bit older in age. Her daughter is about to have a child, and she wants to be around to be able to help with the kid, and to be able to just be a part of her grandkid's life and her help with her daughter. And a huge thing is, as you get older, you want to be able to still have benefit of movement. Putting your body under a decent amount of stress it's helping your joints. It helps just your body in general. I mean, your general health. But it also, I mean, moving with looking at being a part of a grandchild's life, you want to be able to interact with your grandchild. You want to be able to pick them up. You want to be able to not feel like you can't be there, if that makes sense. I feel like I always try to relate, just obviously relating to life, whatever you have going on, you want to be able to. I start training with some of my clients, even early on, even for myself. Sometimes I still check. I think it's great even just doing like strength training, just like body training. Like I literally have my client lay on the ground. I'm like, okay, you're going to take away your right arm. Get off the ground without using your right arm. Because say like as you get older, it's like, say you do fall, say you do injure one part of your, like one of your limbs, you need to be able to like help yourself get off the ground. You need to be able to help yourself at some point. Like if someone else can't help you, like be able to have that side, like that, no, like that safety in yourself to know, like I can help myself, like I can still move, I can still get myself like to where I need to if I was in a bad place. I think that that's a huge thing. Just like our body would be like, because our body, like we get older, our bodies that can't necessarily keep up all the time. So I think that's huge. Just to know that like that mental clarity, especially like if like, so then your children don't have to worry. If you're like on that older spectrum, that was all the things I told her at least.
Yeah.
And she really agreed, especially because she was like, she has an ankle problem and some like just stuff like that. So like things that she was really like, wow, like that's, I never really thought of that, just because like these are all very like relevant problems that you can face like on a day-to-day life. Especially you could step off a curb here in New York City and you could roll your ankle, like making sure your body is just always ready like for any kind of changes. I think that that's great with strength training, honestly.
Biggest thing too with like reaction time. I mean, a lot of for the older population, the reaction time is what really gets them. You know, something happens, they they have to brace themselves. They forget how to. I mean, that especially like osteoporosis and just all that stuff that really fucks you up when you get older. But it's good though. It's good to get everybody to start training for just any purpose in general. No,
I completely agree. Completely. Cool. And I mean, I think it's a great just overall like strength training. I could not say enough great things about strength training, but that's for a different time. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's a great point that you brought up about like making sure that they know the importance of strength training and then tackling through that kind of like umbrella, because it's important that they know that if something happens, which it very well may, you need to be able to like get up and get the phone or something like that if you fall. And these are things that people have on the back burner, and we always feel like
life alert.
We listen, man, or an Apple Watch, right? Because of that whole fall.
That's true. Apple Watch, they don't have the help I can't get up stuff.
And then I was gonna make a joke for like reaction time, just have Abuela play Warzone, but kind of, it was a little bit too late.
Warzone.
Let's get Jacques to play Warzone first.
There you go.
I got a headset now, so I can. So
there we go. Our Twitch account is coming soon. So Lexa,
the trainer feed on Twitch.
Yes.
So Lexa, I wanted to ask you about kind of something that you brought up earlier when you were you went back home and you focused a little bit more on yourself and rebuilding habits as well as education. So I wanted to know, like, what are some useful ways of keeping yourself in the know with the different training modalities and styles? And then do you have any recommendations? I know there was a lot kind of out there. I think things are still popping up every now and then with technological advancements. But what are some things that you've learned, and like, where do you get that information? Like, how do you keep yourself up to date?
So I've actually had to like branch out quite a bit when it came to just keeping myself up to date. Obviously, like with then going home and being away. Before the pandemic hit, I was as weird like it's not even as like weird, but like I was always watching my coworkers. I learned a lot, even just from like on my downtime, like when I had a break, instead of getting out of the gym, I used to just like sit and like on a stretch mat, like roll out obviously and like feel things like out for myself. But I would love to just watch their sessions because everyone comes with such their own knowledge. So like it was always really cool to like see some of my coworkers do something or even for themselves. And I'm always asking questions. Everyone I work with knows I ask 14,000 fucking questions. And like that's because I'm always curious. Like I'm always like there's always a reason behind everything. Everyone and like with any kind of training, there 14 people can get you to the same goal a different way. So I feel like that's a really great. That's like for me, that's always like when I look at things, I'm like, okay, well, why are you doing that? Even like if the people can find things as much as like on Instagram. Even though like I'm not like I try to be on my Instagram, I try to promote like good things. I only follow people that I think are like really promoting a good message. You know what I mean? And so I think that like that's really cool because then like over the pandemic, so many people took to Instagram and really made a positive impact. Not only just putting out their own kind of training and like what they do. So I was learning a lot via Instagram. I like podcasts, being on one right now. But I listen to podcasts a lot, even just learning about things like the new things that are coming out, like even people like just like, hearing people and like these like athletes, like the way they train, like, so like the Nike podcast, that one was really cool. I learned a lot from that. The Whoop podcast, I learned a lot from. And then also just being in contact with a lot of my coworkers, I've actually been, now that things are a lot more technologically advanced, I've actually been able to start taking online certifications. I'm actually doing one right now currently that's a 12-week program, but it's all online. So it's really cool. Like there are a lot of like even just educators out there. Like, so this one's run by the guy who made Viper. He is also like, he's part of this certification that I'm taking.
Michelle?
Michelle Dalcourt.
Yes. Do you know you might know the certification. It's by Institute of Movement. It's the AHHCS.
Yeah. They got Institute of Motion, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
that one.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a really great certification, and it's just about like mobility and activation, stuff like that. Very besides the point, but constantly looking for just outside sources. Like I love that there's been ups and downs obviously with this whole pandemic, and I think that like as much as I'm awful with technology, I think that it's been great because it's still helping me learn. I always love to learn. I think there's so much you can really learn from anything out there. Especially like some of my friends back home, watching the way they train, even though they're not certified, they've learned things other places. Just having these conversations with people is how I was constantly just taking in information. I really tried to take time out of my day each day to be like, okay, let's sit down, like at least try to learn something new, like sit down, like just make an effort, because I wasn't in that environment that stimulated me so much, so constantly, like that the gym was where I was constantly learning. So I was trying to find other ways to really get that information and doing my own research as well. Any questions? I was always coming up with a question for myself, and I was like, okay, well, let's sit down and let's do some research for that. So I think like that's more of like a roundabout answer of like where I was just kind of taking in a lot of my knowledge from was just other people in the industry.
No, that's awesome. And I think that that's something that we probably overlooked as a valuable resource until the pandemic hit. And then when it hit, it's like, all right, now you're not around the people from the gym. So what are you going to do? And then you do your, what's in your wheelhouse and what your favorite exercises are until you get tired and bored. And then, you start to think about, oh man, I remember that so-and-so, I would roll out, see so-and-so doing something, and then always ask so-and-so about how they got to do that. I think in our club we had at 76th Street, we had like a bunch of people that were just different. And like Amy would always have some different like mobility / core drills. I don't know if you guys remember. And she would always be moving around and doing some wild stuff and just be like, hey, try this. Hey, try that. Like try to get up without your hands from a lying down position. And, while keeping your legs straight. and then push your feet up against the wall. And it's like, if you did one thing, she would have another progression for that, and another one and another one. I'm like, damn, Amy, you're an animal. But like, you would start to realize how important it is to have that community. I think community is a solid key. And there are a lot of different things that people are trying to put together. I know NSCA is trying to put together like a 3D expo or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
To kind of take place of like the expo they would have. I think Perform Better did their thing where, you know, they had like a weekly, somebody in every day of the week for like the summer. They're going to do a series number 2, I think.
That'd be great.
That's awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. So the last question I have before we kind of like wrap things up is where do you see yourself professionally in the next 5 years? I know that you spoke a little bit about your intention of coming to the city for modeling, and now you're in this personal trainer role. Do you see that coming back, modeling, like a hybrid between that and fitness, or do you still see yourself in New York City in the next 5 years? Like, what's the deal?
So actually, the pandemic really brought that question to my mind. I really didn't think too much about it until all of this hit. I just kind of, like, once I joined Equinox, it was like obviously with ramping, life it's a whole different animal. So like Rampart life for me was like, oh, dude, it was a great time. I was working nonstop. What'd you say?
Would you like a towel?
Yeah, exactly. Would you like a towel? It was like, obviously, like it's all about the grind. But I will say, like, I just kind of felt like Equinox was like, I was like Equinox and that's it. Like that's where my mind was, and I didn't really think too much ahead. I was just trying to take it day by day. So I didn't really know like what was happening. And then when I went home and I had a lot of time to think, I was like, holy crap, like this city is definitely, it's different now after this pandemic hit. And 5 years from now, professionally, I still do see myself training, whether that is here or not. I've looked into I want to travel the world. So I know that at some point will play a role into my life, but I hope to just keep learning and keep making steps forward in my career with Equinox, or even just like I have no idea what's going to happen. I would love to stay with Equinox because they're an amazing company. And they've the impact on my life that they've made is like completely just different. But I also I've actually had the chance to already start to kind of merge my modeling and my fitness career into one. I walked away from modeling and not really loving it and having kind of a very negative look at it just because of the effects that it had on me personally. But Equinox has actually gave me the opportunity to work with them and to use me for some of the, even like Jack too, using for some of the
shop and
for
Into
shop.
the Wild, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. So using me just to, and it's made me love that side of things again. So it's been really amazing, and it's actually kind of broadened my horizon to look into modeling with an agency again, and even just for like athletic reasons. So I think it's really like helping me kind of realize like, okay, we can do both of these, because I did love modeling and I did have a love for it, and this is now bringing my new passion, which is training, back into that. So hopefully being able to merge that a little bit more, if that takes me to travel, then that'd be absolutely amazing. But in the next 5 years, I'm not sure if I'll be in the city. I'm a country girl at heart. I love country music. I grew up in the middle of freaking nowhere. I love my Jeep Wrangler. Like I love being outside. So like the city is very much the complete polar opposite of that. So like, which is why I love it. But time will only tell. I would love to stay, but I feel like at some point I will definitely be leaving. So who knows?
I was also thinking just maybe even starting something yourself, like seeing the impact that Equinox had on your modeling kind of career was very different, just based off what you've been saying. I'm sure it would mean much more to other prospective models as well to have that sort of like avenue. And you seeing that avenue and you finding it was kind of like a roundabout way, but you found it regardless, and it kind of brought you back to the reason why you wanted to do it. Like it's a healthier way to promote yourself.
Definitely.
So that might be also another avenue as well. And then, travel from there, right? Get in the Jeep and just go around.
No, definitely. I love that. And I love that idea. Definitely. And like, that's been like a huge thing, was like bouncing ideas off of everyone. Just like, I feel like we all had to really sit back and look and be like, holy crap. Because once Equinox closed, I was like, what am I?
What do I do?
Yeah. I know. I was like, because Equinox like ramping, I was like Equinox trainer, Equinox trainer, Equinox trainer. And I didn't have time for anything else. So then like Equinox shut down. I was like, what? Like I have time? Like so that really like made me think about like, okay, like is this something I would want to do on my own? Like is there something else, with this other avenue that I could take? How can I then like make connections with other people? Like you said, like merging modeling and like training together. So I love that idea, definitely.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up. And I wanted to just ask you, like, where can people find more about you, and if they're looking to train with you, where can they find more?
So you can find more from me. I really only have an Instagram. Like I said, social media is not really my favorite all-time thing. So I'm on Instagram. It's just at lexa.henwood, Lexa.henwood. A lot of people get my last name all kinds of fucked up. So, but
I feel your pain.
Yeah, you would know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's where you can find me. You can kind of see everything that I'm doing with my training. I'm very much about my stories. I don't really post a whole lot, so you can find more of like the stuff I'm learning and the stuff I do in the gym via my stories. So yeah, that's really it. But thank you guys so much for having me on today. This was absolutely an amazing experience, and I feel so lucky that you guys invited me on. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for your time. I really
appreciate you fitting us in.
No, I had such a great time. You guys are a lot of fun. And I'd love to see you guys on Twitch. That'd be a great.
Oh shit! More pressure, guys. More pressure.
Our whole basis, our whole platform for Twitch is going to be Jacques just instantly dying.
He dies pretty fast, remarkably
fast into the game. He's like, "What is this? Do I have to use a gun?"
It's a different style of game, right? So these guys are good at like
first-person shooters.
Yeah, whereas all I do is play NHL. So like,
it's a third person.
I grew up with a younger brother who we played all types of Call of Duty and Halo and everything. So like,
so you'd be better than me. There you go.
Man. What the fuck?
Right. Maybe we'll do a Twitch. We invite the guests from that week on to. Can you imagine?
We'll all get a game of quads going, and we'll be fine.
That's how we do it. Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. That'd
be perfect.
That's a good idea.
That would be really entertaining. I really think, and mostly to see me just fucking.
No, our goal is gonna have to be to protect Jacques from not dying.
Yes, protect him at all costs.
Yeah, these guys like, oh, do this. I'm like, wait, how do I move my guy? Like, I can't even figure.
Okay.
But I think you're doing the shoot on Sunday as well, right?
Yes.
Like
are you doing it?
Yeah, I got confirmation.
Oh, amazing.
So I'll see that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then I will see you on Sunday.
I'll see you on Sunday. Thank you again for coming on.
No, thank you guys for having me. I'll hopefully see you all very soon.
Yeah, likewise. Take care.
Soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. That was awesome. Super full of energy, and she's a hard worker. I forgot to mention that she's always. I feel like every time I see a story, she's always at the club, like always working, always hustling. So it's good to have her on.
Yeah, it was it was good to kind of like catch up and figure out like what are different ways that other trainers have experienced the pandemic and then also made something out of it. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something I think she touched on mental health as well, right? Like that's something that we've maybe not touched on as much of in the lockdown, that like people have suffered mentally because of all this. So I think she made a good point of saying like being able to put that forward and put that as a priority. I think is quite important. But yeah,
definitely. All right,
cool.
Well, let's
wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. What are you guys doing this weekend? I know that we're in a little crunch for time. I know David's got to head out soon. I got to head out soon.
Tomorrow we got that shoot.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're all gonna do some pictures and some videos and stuff like that.
So everyone can get excited on Instagram for these reels coming your way.
Oh man, these reels.
Yeah, shit, reels for days.
Yeah, right. I'm curious to see like what some of that IGTV stuff would turn out like, because I kind of like the idea of IGTV. I just don't know like really how to use it, and
it's just like another video, isn't it?
IGTV is always more than a minute as well, right?
Right.
So
like, I don't get the whole reel, and
so the reel I think is no more than 7 or 15 seconds, something like that.
To make it like a fucking TikTok.
Yeah, but also I think why why it can work is if you want to see someone's workout in a matter of 7 seconds, kind of 3 or 4 things you did in the workout, it kind of gives you like a summary, I think. As opposed, you ever seen people that post something and it's like it comes to the back, it says 59 seconds, and they've like spent the first 30 seconds just walk up to the bar for a deadlift or something. You're like, really?
That was Mike today with his video. No, let me stop.
I knew when he said wait for the 10th rep, a fart was coming. I fucking knew it. So for our listeners, Mike that came on like 10 episodes before this, I guess.
Yeah.
Sent us a video of him squatting, and he's like, "Oh, wait for the 10th one has got surprise." And he gets the bottom squat now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but we got to fix his squat. I think I know what the deal is with his squat. And you know, it's one of those things that it's kind of hard to solve or like talk about over text.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's better just to like have the conversation or just call or
you solve so much more just having an actual conversation. And also, like, obviously, if he was still in New York, I'm sure we would show in person. Like, it would like be a game changer. But I pretty much agree with everything that you guys said. So I thought it was.
Yeah, I think his ankle mobility is something that we need to look at, and I'll just text him to show us his squat from the
front or the back.
Yeah, so that way we can kind of see like when that pelvic tilt happens, and then also like do like a peripheral thing. If he has like 2 devices, it would be perfect, right? Like you just set up both of them for record and then just send that.
Or he just does it on each side of each set, like first, third, and fourth set, for example.
Yeah,
he just does all 4 sets.
Because I think his ankles start to cave in a little bit when he reaches like depth. Yeah. At least that's what I noticed back at 76th Street. I don't know how much that has changed, recently or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we got planned this week. Well, not coaching Mike. We'll coach Mike over a long time, obviously. But tomorrow, yeah. So I don't know if this will drop after we've done this, obviously. But I was gonna say, come check us out at the park, but like you won't. We won't. This will drop after we've done it. So you go looking for us. We might not be there anymore, unfortunately. But
yeah, we're also actually, when the time that you hear this, you should have realized that we'll be a little bit more consistent with dropping the content as well. So the hope is that we'll drop on IG on Wednesdays, like the new episodes, and then also YouTube and Spotify will all be updated on Wednesday. And then, just follow us for more of that stuff. So follow our YouTube, The Trainer Feed, follow our Instagram at The Trainer Feed, and our website, you can visit us at thetrainerfeed.com.
Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And like Angel just mentioned, every Wednesday, the Wednesday's going to be going forward the day where, like he just said, everything drops. So if you guys want to tune in, like your Wednesday is your hump day, is your training feed day, put it that way. Those two are going to go together.
Yes, man. He said it best. Right, David?
Sure.
That's the closest I'm going to get to David being like, yes.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out. Bye.